What if the way that you practice makes sure that you don't feel like you're practicing a lot of things that you're never going to be able to use? Or if the way that you're working is directly trying to solve problems in your playing and helping you get the feeling that you are improving? That's what I want to talk about in this video. It's not something that's going to solve all problems. It doesn't fit all solutions, but I think it is something that is a common problem, especially with people who are teaching themselves. My name is Larsen. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar, music theory, and how to practice jazz, then subscribe to my channel. If you want to make sure not to miss anything, then click the little bell notification icon next to the subscribe button. This is about the solutions that you choose when you encounter a problem in your playing and when you're choosing what to practice on and how to spend your time. I think that a lot of people are actually really wasting a lot of time and also ending up being frustrated because they're not working on solving the real problem here. And I think there's a more efficient way to work on this, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate with two different examples in this video. I think this is especially important if you're teaching yourself or if you're relying a lot on planning your own practice sessions. And it's something that I see come back again and again. It doesn't really matter if it's with my own students or if it's on YouTube comments or in the Facebook group. For the purpose of this video, then I'm going to split up practice activities in two types. So we have one that's sort of long-term goal oriented, which is where we're trying to work on something on a regular basis and then gradually improve it. That would be specifically something like technique or working on transcribing, maybe working on transposing pieces, things that you spend a lot of time doing and then gradually you'll get better at it. Then there's a short-term goal. So this is the type of practice where you're isolating a problem and you kind of keep it really specific and then you work on solving that problem. And I'm going to go over two different types of examples. So one with a solo example and then one with playing different chord voicings. And then I'm going to demonstrate how these two solutions would differ and which one is better, because one of them really is not going to help you. You're kind of setting yourself up to fail if you choose the wrong type of solution. As a first example, let's take triad pairs in melodic minor. So let's say that you're improvising over solar and that's a part of what you're practicing and you want to have some new material that you can use over that song. Especially you want to have some more material that you can use over the first two bars, which is a tonic C minor chord, so it's a C minor major chord. Usually you would use melodic minor on a chord like that. So you want to use triad pairs, could be anything, but let's just stick with the triad pairs. And you want to check out the triad pairs. So long-term goal here, if you're looking for that kind of solution, is, well, I want to check out everything about triad pairs. So that means that you want to check out triad pairs in all positions of the neck. Maybe you want to check it out also just across the neck from low to high, maybe on specific string sets. There are a lot of ways you can practice triad pairs. You need to also check them out with different patterns and different melodies. And actually you also want to check out all the different triad pairs that you have in melodic minor. And you can easily hear how this is quickly becoming a lot of information that you need to process, and even just practicing this as a scale exercise or as a simple technical exercise is going to be almost years of work. So that's not really realistic. And the same goes for not only practicing it like that, but you also need to practice putting it to use, which is just as difficult. So in that way, working like this is not necessarily a really strong approach, because it's not really going to help you. Originally you were just playing solar and you want to play something that's more interesting or something new on the first two bars. And this is not really helping with that. It's just giving you a lot of practice that you also have to find the time to put to use. Turning this into a short-term goal solution will give you something completely different, because here we are looking at, well, I want to improve the way that I'm playing on solar. I want to work with some triad pairs. Usually when I'm playing solar, then I'm just looking at, well, I'm probably going to be playing in this position. At least I play there really a lot. So I want to check out the triad pairs in this position, because then it's easier to connect with all the other things that I'm already playing when I'm improvising over that song. So I don't need to check out all the positions right away. And I'm also just going to look at which triad pairs would work. Do I have some that I think this is really going to get the sound that I want? That may take a little bit of exploration, but at the same time you can also just look up some suggestions and try and work with these. Let's say that we're working with just the one triad pair, reducing it down to just working on E flat augmented and F major. So in this position I already have this triad pair, and then I can work on trying to find some musical phrases that I like with these triad pairs, trying out different options. And it gets a lot easier to just try different melodies chaining them together in different ways, maybe adding notes or adding some chromatic leading notes. There are all these different things that you can work on, but you're all the time keeping in mind that it has to fit within these 2 bars, it has to work as a musical phrase, and you're also directly trying to implement it into your playing and using it in the song. The reason that I can keep on publishing videos every week is that there is a community of people over on Patreon that are supporting the channel. I am very grateful for their support. It's because of them that I can keep on making all these jazz guitar and music theory videos. If you want to help me keep making videos, then check out my Patreon page. And if you join us over on Patreon, I can also give you something in return for your support. As a second example, let's say that you're comping Stella by Starlight and you're kind of stuck with just having this set of voicings for the first 2 or 4 bars. So you have one way of playing E half diminished to A7 flat 9 and to C minor 7 and F7, and you want to expand on your vocabulary and you want to have some more options so that you can just change around a little bit what you're doing. The long-term solution to this, where you're really just looking at, well, I want to know as many voicings as I can without really thinking about where I want to use them, would be to say, well, I want to have some more voicings for E half diminished. Well, this is a drop 2 voicing, so I can just check out all the drop 2 voicings on all string sets and then try and get used to using that in my playing. And as you can tell, like some of them, I don't even have them that well in my playing, because there are some of these inversions where if you start working with them, they're not that easy to use. And you also, when you're working on this, first it's difficult to learn and memorize, and some of them you're not going to use really that often because of the range they're in, because they have difficult fingerings. And once you've learned these, you still need to also work on getting them linked together with the A7. So you're going to need A7 and C minor F7 voicings in that same region just to get that to make sense. That's also going to give you a ton of more work, and you're not really solving your problem here immediately. You're going to spend your time practicing a lot of inversions, but you're not using them on the song. So again, the short-term solution to this would be to say, well, okay, I'm kind of playing these voicings now, and I probably also like to play C minor here, maybe here. So there's something that you already have some solution for. Let's see if I can't find some different voicings that will work for E half diminished in this area, and then start working there. And then you're not necessarily, you can limit yourself to drop 2 voicings still, of course. So say I'm going to use this one for, which is of course also just an inversion for E half diminished, and then go to this A7 to maybe this and this for C minor F7, or you start with one up here, and then we have these solutions. But you also don't have to really limit yourself to drop 2 voicings. Your approach is now just like, what works? What can I find? And maybe you know this one, actually this would be a good half diminished voicing. I can use that. How is it going to fit with what I'm playing? So and that way you're coming up with some more solutions and trying to find something that you can fit into the situation, and you're focusing on getting those first bars of Stella by Starlight to sound better and have some different things available that will fit in different situations. I think it's quite clear that very often it's much more efficient to be really practical and start with whatever is a problem when you're playing. So when you decide, well, okay, actually I need something for this part of this song, and then just really look at, well, where do I play that song? Where on the neck is it? What specifically is it that I want to check out? And then try and find some practical solutions that you can immediately import into your playing, or if not immediately, then at least very fast, because then you're solving a problem that you have with that song, or at least that spot in that song. And hopefully that's going to make it easier to generalize that for other songs. The other approach, where you're turning everything into a million options, then you're really probably wasting a lot of time practicing a lot of drop 2 inversions that you never use, or maybe arpeggio inversions or patterns that you don't really use anyway, because you can really eat up a lot of practice time just working on trying to get all the options covered. And all options are not very useful if you're not working on also using all the options. And I think that's the thing that we often forget, that you really need to start with the main thing that you're working on here is that you want to be a better jazz guitar player. So you need to isolate the problem in your playing and then try to improve just that little bit. Even if it feels like you're just filling a gap or fixing a hole in a tire in a way, then that's probably a better solution than instead of when you have a bike that has a flat tire, trying to reinvent the tire, then just fix that hole. That's a little bit the idea that I want to get across here, and it is something that a lot of people really get lost in. And it's easy also if you're a teacher to just sort of prescribe, well, just go practice all your drop 2 voicings on all string sets and all keys in 3-6-2-5-1s or in 2-5-1s, and just like load stuff like this onto students, and it's usually not that helpful. Really start with something that's more practical, something that's a lot closer to how we play and how we improve our playing. If you want to improve your practice sessions and be more efficient, then check out this video where I'm going over the topics that I think you should include in a 30-minute practice session, and also how I think you should focus on them, how much time you should spend on them. And spoiler alert, I'm also telling you that you should spend most of your time practicing actually playing music, since that's the end goal. So you want to work on actually doing that. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar and this is the first time you see one of my videos, then subscribe to my channel. If you want to help me keep making videos, then check out my Patreon page. That's about it for this time. Thank you for watching, and until next time.